Welcome back to West Texas View.
We've been talking with Erika Thomas, who is the Executive Director of Odessa Links. And this is a really important agency because it's the first time a community has tried to say, how can we help in those people who need services connect with the proper services? And that's their whole purpose, is to say, I will take all of the questions that you've got about your needs and connect you and pave the way. Actually, sometimes you physically take those people over to appointments or something. So one of the things we've been talking about, the last segment, was this conference that's coming up. It's for mostly helping agency professionals, but you are also including students who are going for a degree in social work or nursing or
Yes.
education or any of these things where you're dealing with people that are in poverty and the problems that are caused by that. And so this conference has grown to the point where people are coming from all over the state, and it's really focusing on health of these individuals that are in poverty. And so talk about your keynote speaker and then all of the small groups that you will have on that conference day that starts at 8:30 and ends at 3:30, and it's repeated 2 days. So you have an opportunity to come on March the 31st or April the 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're bringing in Prudence Peace. We actually brought her, we've brought her the last 2 years. She's a wonderful speaker, and so we were thrilled to see that she's able to deliver the health content as well, because she comes from a poverty background. So who else better to explain the different things that people experiencing poverty go through than someone that has lived it, gone through it, and overcame it. So she has a certain vantage point, a certain perspective that really just makes the content and the best practices real. She's just a delight to hear.
And you know, just looking at what she is basing her talk on is from Dr. Ruby Payne's book, A Framework of Understanding Poverty.
Yes.
A Framework of Understanding Poverty.
Yes, so Ruby Payne, their content, it extends to different industries. They have a great framework. They have great practices. They're very organized as far as how they're approaching the topic of people overcoming poverty. And so it's refreshing. It's like, here's someone that has a different perspective. They're able to introduce it to different industries so that they can take it back to their organizations or their businesses and, apply it and see the change and see, the shift in how we are impacting people.
But also they break it down into those who have been chronically in poverty and those who are suddenly thrust into poverty and homelessness and all of those because of a sudden loss of job or turn of events. And
it's definitely a different concept when you have someone that is coming from generational poverty versus someone that's experienced it one time. You have thoughts and different processes that are ingrained in someone that has gone through multiple episodes of being homeless.
And then the feeling of desperation.
Yes,
I've never experienced this before. I have nothing to go on.
So there are different things and different support systems and different ways that they approach it and truly get into survival mode versus someone that came from probably a middle class family, is probably down and out, temporarily, but they still have a mental capacity. They still have enough confidence, enough drive to get out of that. And so it really kind of breaks it down to, how that makes an impact as far as service providers reaching out to them and moving forward. And the same for health providers. It's going to be different for someone in the middle class where they value, health and they see the importance versus someone that is just trying to survive, and going to a doctor's appointment might be the difference between, getting or making it to the shelter for a night stay or going to the food bank to get a food box. It really comes down to priorities and how they can maximize the little they have to help their family.
But one of the things that about this study by Dr. Payne that I thought was so interesting is she talks about the sudden poverty, not the generational poverty. And she says that there's a lot of shame connected with that prohibits them from even looking out and trying to find it until they reach a point where they've just got to have help.
Yeah.
And so if we can cut through that and reach them when they're first in this bad turn of events, then we'll be able to get them out quicker with less help.
Yes, yes. It really is, for health providers, for community service providers.
To understand this whole picture is important.
We ultimately, we want to better their health. We want to better their conditions. And it's sometimes difficult to do that and difficult to move ahead when you don't know what they're going through and you don't see as far as why they make those decisions against, certain recommendations or certain referrals. Well, it's because they have more pressing issues. And so if we're able to reach out and identify those pressing issues and deliver a referral or speak to them or deliver literacy in a certain way where they can understand that and see that, okay, well, if I choose to pursue, this health appointment, if I choose to pursue this program, this is going to get me closer to this goal, which will get me closer to this, and which will prevent me from having to stay in the shelter any longer. So it really is incremental in that sense, and sometimes we have to work backwards and deliver what we're trying to get across in a different way that, like I said, is more effective and will, reduce them having to, access shelters, access our health agencies.
And one of the things that I love is even though you're dealing with an individual, you're also dealing with family.
Yes.
In many cases, there's more and more homeless families. So give us one more, well, before we wrap up, talk about the small group sessions.
So as far as Prudence, it's always interesting. We never know as far as what she's going to bring. We definitely have our workshop description and stuff, but I think there will definitely be opportunities for people to work together, more interactive dealings, and really just exposure to that content, research, and things that are going to leave health
she'll
providers.
Break you up into small groups.
I think she'll. I'm trying to think as far as because the way the auditorium is, it's an auditorium, so.
And it will be at UTPB.
At Texas Tech Health Science Center.
Texas
We've had
Tech
it at
Health
UTPB in the past, but this year we're having it at Texas Tech. We thought it was very fitting since we are discussing health. They've been a gracious host, so we're excited for them to meet Prudence and for her to deliver that content.
And if the conference is the 31st and the 1st, what's the deadline for applying?
So we want to at least get everyone in, a week before, so we know as far as food,
and
the
sponsorships
content.
are a lot sooner than that. So we're going to have to close our program today, but just remember, if you've got any questions about the conference or about Odessa Links, access that number that's rolling across your screen. And in the meantime, we wish you a very great conference because this is a very needed thing for our helping agencies. Thank you for being here today. We'll see you next Sunday with another program.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB TV and KWES TV.